How's it going, everybody? This is ShoeCarrot, and today I'm not going to be playing anything. This is a pre-recorded game I played last night. I was actually recording when I played this game, but I had neglected to record my own audio as well, so the clips became useless, but this game was so beautifully intense that I just had to come back and do it over again. So instead of sort of commentating during the game, I'm going to be doing a post-game synopsis and going to be commentating over this. So I have this. So now I have entirely new view of the entire match because I can look at everything. So real quick, going to go over the teams. On the blue team left side, we are currently on the Grave Golem map. For those of you who know what that is. So we have Purdy, me, Aztarande. We have Brother Solon, who is the only other player I was with at the time, who I was personally with, like talking to. As Kael'thas, we have Kerwick, Lili, Ek as Zagara, and Dona as Azmodan. Then on the red team, we are going to have Takisha as Gazlo. We have Hinsfut. We have him as Diablo. We have Kojo Max 99 as ETC, Vajex as Tassadar, and Froxio as the Pink Vala. So let's just start this rolling. I don't know how to play it. There we go. Alrighty, here we go. So I'm already gonna get started. I'm gonna go bottom lane, and the teams are just now getting into position. So for those of you who don't know, the Grave Golem map is a 2-lane only map. It's the only one of its kind. All the others are 3 lanes, and so you kind of have to strategically pick which lane you're gonna send 3 to and which lane you're gonna send 2 to. So, because we can look at this, let's take a look at the talents. Let's pause this real quick. So, this might be a bit longer, but also speed it up a bit so that we don't have to have like a super long video. So, as Tarande, I took Celestial Attunement, which reduces the mana cost of Light of Elune by 15. As I do this, I'll probably have picture and description of the ability on the side just so that you know exactly what I'm talking about. For Kael'thas, he increased his maximum mana by 15 when you pick up a regen globe. That's kind of cool. I've never played Kael'thas, so I don't know his choices. Zagara chose Reconstitution, Health Restoration bonus on creep increased by 200%. That is pretty good. Protoss increases the range of Healing Brew by 30%, and then Azmodan took Sieging Wrath, which increases the impact damage dealt by up to 50% depending on how far the missile traveled. Diablo has yet to choose a talent, so I'll have to go back to that later. Gazlo chose to take an extra TNT, in which case his Explodium charge damage is increased by 10% per target hit to a max of 100%. Tassadar increases Psionic Storm's range by 33%. ETC decided to increase the range of his Power Slide by 25%. And then Vala took Rancor, which increases attack speed by 1.5% for each Hatred stack, which I believe caps at 10, if I'm not mistaken. So let's start this up again. Diablo still hasn't chosen his, so let's take a look at where the teams decide to go. We have Tarande and Zagar on bottom versus ETC and Vala. And then we have Lili and Azmodan on top versus Gazlo and Tassadar. It looks like Kael'thas decided to go mid, going to go take the vision just as I am doing. And then we'll see where Kael'thas and Tarande go. Enemy Diablo is still in the base, which gives us a bit of a head start because it is now a 5v4 situation, which is very good for us. So we're going to have a bit of a confrontation on the bottom versus these 3 versus 2. ETC is almost going to get taken out, but he's going to go run back. Let's take a look on top, see what's happening up here. Looks like Azmodan and Lili are getting their butts kicked by Tassadar and Gazlo. And player Diablo left the game, which means he was taken over by AI, which means he did not take a talent yet. That's somewhat frustrating. So let's speed this up a little bit, see what's going on. So we're going to speed it. Okay, nope, not going to speed it up like that. So we've got more combat going on the bottom, just really back and forth. Looks like the 3 on bottom are overpowering the 2 on bottom, which isn't totally surprising considering it's a 3v2 situation. But considering it's also a 3v2 situation on top in favor of the red team, it looks like Zagara is going to start heading that way. Let's see if she actually decides to do that. Yes, she is. So the lanes are now balancing out. Player Diablo has returned, so we're going to see how this turns out. We have the 2v2 going on the bottom, and then the 3v3 on top. Looks like Gazlo is taking a bit of a hidey. Speaking of Heidi, where did one of the players go? Where'd Zagara go? Oh, Zagara decided to return to bottom, leaving a 2v3 on top, but so far it looks like the 2v3 is working out. Diablo is retreating, Azmodan and Lili seem to be able to hold their own against Gazlo and Tassadar, at least for the moment. On bottom we still have the 3v2, ETC taking a lot of damage, Vala not so much, and the enemy team is looking pretty good. Kael'thas is getting very low on mana because he decided to go all YOLO with his spells, but then again, isn't that what Kael'thas is for? So they're going to keep this back and forth going on both lanes. Looks like Diablo is going to take this vision on the way down, possibly going to try and help out bottom lane. Yes, he is. There he is. He's going to get intercepted by me, Trondai. And doesn't look like his presence is going to fare much better for the team. The mines are up, leaving Zagara alone on bottom. Let's transition in there. We, Brother Solon and I decided to stay there and wait for enemy team to come in. Diablo came in, got messed up, left. And so once that happened, we decided to go and take out some of this. We can see Tassadar and Gazlo unopposed on top of the mines, and then Lili getting chased by Vala. Not entirely sure how that's going to work out. Looks like, who was that? That was Tassadar. Decided to try and come down and ran into these three, dying quite instantly. Lili is pretty damaged running along the side. I'm pretty sure that as a healer I gave her a heal. Maybe, I don't know. So we kind of have 4 mid, we're kind of in the middle of the mines, we're kind of dominating. Diablo alone on bottom, not going to go well for him if we manage to catch up to him. Gazlo, ETC, and Vala are on top. Diablo did indeed get rectified, and we're all now meeting at the giant in the mines. It is a 4v3 at the moment, and the enemy team is faring far worse. Gazlo ended up getting completely destroyed there. Taking care of these turrets before we deal with the boss. Kael'thas getting pretty low, but he does have 2 healers on bottom with him. Level 4 has come, so let's just take a bit of a pause and take a look at the talents that were taken. So, Trondai at level 4 took Pierce. Sentinel no longer stops at the first hero hit, affecting all enemy heroes along the path. Kael'thas decided to take Envenom, which is a cooldown of 60 seconds, activatable to poison an enemy hero, dealing 180 damage over 5 seconds. Zagara taking Envenom Spines, because his attacks have their range increased by 20% and deal an additional 15 damage over 3 seconds. Lili taking the Healing Ward, cooldown 60 seconds. You can activate to place a ward on the ground that heals allies in an area 42% of their max health every second for 10 seconds. Unfortunately, this is destroyable by enemy heroes, and I think it takes like 2 basic attacks to destroy. So it is a bit weak, and it's also susceptible to AoE attacks with a new patch that came out. So slightly lost value, but it's still a good tool to have as a healer. And then Azmodan took Bound Minion, using General of Hell on a lane minion, increases the minion's damage by 100% and its health by 300% for 30 seconds. Diablo, we can take a look at his level 1 ability. Devil's Due reduces the Black Soulstone's resurrection cost to 60 souls. And then he took Soul Catcher. Black Soulstone passively generates a soul every 4 seconds. Gazlo taking Reduce, Reuse, Recycle. Enemy minions that die near you have a 15% chance to drop scrap. Tassadar also taking the Healing Ward, which I mentioned before with Lili. ETC increased power slides with 200% and you slide 30% faster, and then Vala took Vampiric Assault, basic attacks heal for 50% of the damage dealt to the primary target. Alright, now that we've taken a look at those abilities, let's get back into this. We're starting to take care of this Grave Golem. Since we don't really have a very tanky group, you will notice that generally between Lili and I, we start swapping out between who tanks the boss, which is very useful, especially when you have 2 healers, because when you can swap out, you can just keep this endless circle of healing each other going. Looks like EDC and Vala are going to come on along on bottom. Going to be able, Vala's leaking in, being able to take up some of the seeds, but it might cost some. ETC is down. Got Diablo on bottom, Tassadar heading top, and Vala leaving as well. Hearthing, not going to be able to get out though. Going to try and take a few pop shots at Kael'thas, doesn't really work out for her. And now everyone is starting to leave the mines. We have Tassadar and Vala leaving top, and Diablo leaving bottom. So let's take a look. So the blue team, Golem, is on top lane, red team on bottom. So let's see how people choose to defend or attack. Zagara and Kael'thas and Lili and Azmodan are all going top on the blue team to help push with their Golem, leaving Trondai all alone on bottom. Trondai getting kind of messed up in a 1v1 versus Gazlo, and Gazlo barely making it out alive, very, very barely. So the push on top is going fairly well. 3 heroes versus 3 heroes, plus we have a Grave Golem on our side. Let's take a look at the push on bottom. Very damaged Gazlo with a full health ETC. The Grave Golem is going down pretty fast. Cigar is able to pick up the kill on Gazlo. And then Tronde is back on bottom to help take care of the Grave Golem. I'm going to make sure ETC stays out of their way, pushing him back a bit. Unfortunately, she got stunned into the Grave Golem stun, which was a bit too much for me to handle. On top, the push is going very well. ETC down, Vala down. Friendly Lily is dead, but it's a 2-for-1 trade on top, and Tassadar is very almost dead. Unfortunately, so is the Grave Golem, and Diablo comes in for backup. Azmodan getting tossed over the shoulder and picked up by Gazlo, I believe. His turrets coming in, sealing the deal. Tronde go on top, making sure that Kael'thas manages to get out alive. But it might not be enough. Diablo swinging him over his shoulder again, but Tronde is able to heal him, and they are getting away rather safely. 3 are still on top. A good stun by Tronde. Managed to capture 2 of them with it, Diablo and Gazlo. Looks like the enemy team is starting to disperse on top. Tassadar coming back after respawning. On bottom we have Zagara and Lili versus ETC. 1 tower still up. Vala coming down to help with this. Lili is taking some damage, but so is Vala. Zagara is being able to do some major damage to that. And since Zagara has a healer, they will be able to have a little bit more survivability versus this enemy team. Diablo does come down to help mid. 3v2 situation might not go so well for him. Back on top we have Kael'thas looking a little low, but Tronde and Azmodan there to support him should be able to keep things alive for a fairly long time. Gazlo is spreading out his turrets fairly well. He's got always trying to keep max turrets up whenever he can. The mines are going to open again in 25 seconds, but it looks like both teams are suffering a bit of casualties. As far as levels go, we have both at level 10, blue team slightly ahead, almost level 11. So let's pause this real quick and take a look at the talents. I missed level 7 talents, so we now have level 7 talents plus the ultimate abilities. So let's go over these really quick. Tronde took Lunar Blaze, increases the range of Lunar Flare by 50%. Kael'thas increased Living Bomb's explosion damage by 75%. Zagara, Endless Creep Tumors spread 50% farther and have 100% extra health. Lili took Pitch Perfect after casting Healing Brew. Its cost is reduced by 10 mana for 6 seconds. This effect does not stack. Azmodan took a Self-Heal First Aid cooldown 60 seconds. Activate to heal 35% of your max health over 6 seconds. For the red team, I don't know why it's blue here, Diablo took Basic Momentum, in which case basic attacks reduce ability cooldowns by 0.5 seconds. Gazlo took Rocket Turret XL, where turrets can attack up to 2 additional targets for 50% damage. Tassadar buffing his Psionic Storm again with Static Charge. Enemies damaged by Psionic Storm are marked with Static Charge. Your basic attacks consume the Static Charge to deal 24 damage. ETC took Loudspeakers, which increases face melt range and knockback by 50%. Vala taking Searing Attacks, which is an activatable ability with a 25-second cooldown, in which case you increase your basic attack damage by 50% for 5 seconds. Each attack costs 15% mana. So for the ultimate abilities, Tronde took Starfall, 100-second cooldown, deals 20 damage per second, and slows enemies by 20% in an area. This effect lasts for 8 seconds. Kael'thas took Pyroblast, cooldown of only 50 seconds. After 2 seconds, cast a slow-moving fireball that deals 300 damage to an enemy hero and 150 damage to nearby enemies. Zagara taking Devouring Maw, cooldown 100 seconds, summons a Devouring Maw that deals 75 damage and devours enemies for 4 seconds. Devoured enemies cannot fight and take 38 damage per second. Lili took Jug of 1,000 Cups, cooldown 70 seconds, in which case Lili rapidly tosses Brew to the most injured nearby allies, prioritizing heroes, restoring a total of 480 health over 6 seconds. And Azmodan decided to take Demonic Invasion, cooldown 100 seconds, in which case he can rain a small army of demonic grunts down on enemies, dealing 20 damage per impact. Demon grunts deal 20 damage per second. Damage is doubled versus non-heroic targets, such as buildings, bruisers, mercenaries, and creep waves. For the red team, Diablo took Apocalypse, cooldown of 100 seconds, create a demonic rune under each enemy hero on the battleground. After 1.75 seconds, the rune explodes, dealing 100 damage and stunning for 2 seconds. Gazlo taking Gravobomb 3000 with a 110-second cooldown. After a 2-second delay, you can pull enemies toward the center of an area and deal 150 damage. Tastar choosing to take Archon, cooldown of 100 seconds, in which case he transforms into an Archon, gaining a 200-point shield, causing basic attacks to deal 64 damage and splash for 32 additional damage. This lasts for 12 seconds. EDC took Mosh Pit, 120-second cooldown, and after 0.75 seconds, channel to stun nearby enemies for 4 seconds. And then lastly, Vala takes Strafe with a 60-second cooldown, in which case she rapidly attacks nearby visible enemies for 15 damage per hit. Prioritizing heroes or minions, Vala is able to move and use Vault while strafing. This effect lasts for 4 seconds. So let's get back into this. So we can see Zagara and Lily on bottom with ETC. The mines have just opened, so let's take a look inside. Vala and Diablo are already positioned inside for the red team. And unfortunately, the entire red team is inside. Lily, Trande, and Kael'thas grouping together, Asmodan popping in as well. Unfortunately, 3 are caught by Asmodan's ultimate ability, which stuns them all. Let's see, that looks like they're going to take on Tassadar, who gets thoroughly rectified. Gazlo trying to come in and follow in Tassadar's footsteps, not sure how that's going to work out for him. Also an ETC, looks like they're running away, will be able to survive against this. Kael'thas getting stuck by Gazlo's explosive. Trying to go over, checking the boss for any enemies, seeing what they're up to. Unfortunately, they haven't gotten to that point yet. Looks like Kael'thas is able to take down the enemy, and that works out well. We have ETC and Diablo trying to take the boss, but we have 4 of the blue team here able to pick up the kill on Diablo. ETC being able to escape, Tassadar on top, but really what's Tassadar going to be able to do against 4 enemy heroes? They have spotted him. He goes in to try and cap some of the seeds from the blue team, but that doesn't really work out well for him. Catches him a lovely Pyroblast to the face, which crits and pretty much one-shots him. Looks like the blue team is able to take the boss, but it isn't enough. They end up with only 47 versus the 53 skulls of the red team. So now they're going to be chasing ETC out of the top. Let's take a look at who decides to go where. We have ETC and Vala on the red team on the bottom to push with their golem. Then we have the entire blue team on top. Not sure if they're going to choose to stay here. ETC and Tassadar up for defense. ETC is still dead. Did I say ETC? Gazlo is on top for defense. Let's see. Zagara, Lily, Kael'thas. Asmodan decides to go bottom. Looks like Tyrande also going bottom to help defend. Looks like she's not going to get far, though, with them all chasing after her. Kael'thas sends the Pyroblast chasing after Diablo. Looks like the red team golem is going to be able to do some work. The push on top really not going well. Asmodan just getting completely locked down and destroyed. Not able to pick up the kill on Tassadar either, who is very close to death. The entire blue team has been killed. Lily has just respawned, as has Tyrande. But the entire red team is still up despite all odds. On bottom, the enemy golem is still going. Diablo is going to hearth, though, dealt too much damage by Lily and Tyrande. Now they're going to be taking up the kill on the golem, hopefully before he's able to destroy this fort, but it's not looking likely. Kael'thas comes down and is able to destroy it before it takes on the fort, which is exactly what the blue team wanted. Let's see, we have red team, we have Gazlo and ETC pushing top, doing massive damage to this wall. Diablo on bottom, all alone. 4 enemies down there, though. Tassadar and Vala are picking up the middle mercenaries. Tyrande is taking the left bruisers, which is blue side. Fortunately, it looks like Vala is going to be heading that direction, but Lily is there as well, so might be able to take care of this. But Tassadar comes up for the backup. Tyrande tries to get the stun on Vala while she's taking the vision, but it does not work out. But thankfully, blue team is able to get the bruisers. Bit of a confrontation on the blue side vision. Tyrande heading up to take care of ETC and Gazlo, but they're pushing with a giant creep wave and mercenaries, so not going to be able to take care of that on her own. On bottom, we have a big push from the blue team, almost being able to pick up Vala. Definitely going to be able to pick up Tassadar here. I highly doubt Tassadar's going to away. Tassadar did not get away. Look at that. Diablo is on bottom versus these 3. Kael'thas is the only one dead versus Tassadar on the red team. ETC is going to be doing some work on the Tyrande. Gazlo coming in to deal some damage as well. ETC uses his ultimate to stun only Tyrande in place, but they are able to pick up the kill. I'm not sure that was worth the ultimate use of the ultimate ability, but that's all we can do. As far as levels are concerned, the tides have turned. The red team ahead by at least a level. blue team not able to get to 16 quite yet, but the mines are up again, and just like last time, Vala and Diablo are in position already. Thankfully, Lily was able to get the kill on Vala and not die. Azudan on bottom for support, but not really doing anything, just sitting there. Is he going to be able to pick up Gazlo? Oh, ETC coming in from the side too. Looks like Zagaris coming in from the blue team. They are all able to pick up a kill on Diablo. Unfortunately, he was max soulstones, so he has a near instant respawn. On the bottom in the tunnels, we have Tyrande facing against ETC, and there was Gazlo, but Gazlo has abandoned the fight. Unfortunately, it might not be enough for Tyrande, but thankfully, Lili, Zagara, and Azudan are able to meet up and take care of Tassadar. Let's see where Gazlo went. Gazlo, I'm guessing, hearthed back for life. In the mines, we have 4 on the blue team versus 2 on the enemy. Zagara able to get her ultimate off on those 2. Doesn't look like they're going to be able to survive long. Diablo caught in the Giant's stun, as well as ETC in the root. So that went very well for the blue team, but they still weren't able to even out the numbers. Able to catch the kill on Vala thanks to Kael'thas and Tyrande. They're all going to be heading out bottoms. They are hearthing back, so it's 3 on the enemy team is dead versus 5 on the blue team. We have Gazlo and Tassadar still up. Let's see where they are. They're on top, ready to kill the enemy Grave Golem when it pops up. For the blue team, they are all converged on the red team's Grave Golem, but the Grave Golem has come up and is starting to hit their core. Looks like Azudan is standing too close and was caught in the Grave Golem's stun. Let's see where Zagar is going. Zagar completely ignoring either objective and is just going for the bottom lane. Let's see how the blue... It's 4 enemies versus the blue team's Grave Golem. Fortunately, 3 of them were able to get caught in the stun, but it didn't do anything at all. Let's take a look. Red team Grave Golem is down as well, but they also have they have bruisers on top, which have managed to get through one of the forts. But these 3 are going to be able to go through and clean it up. We have Gazlo trying to take the middle mercenaries, Vala and Tassadar joining in, so they're going to be able to take that without any problem. Diablo trying to take the left side, bruisers, but Tyrande able to find him and stop him. Got a bit of a team battle going on here. Not sure how well this is going to be able to go over. It's 4v4, and it looks like they should be alright, but Kael'thas just getting shredded. Diablo coming in for the stun. Fortunately, Kael'thas is able to stun him, but it's not enough. Tyrande is dead. Diablo did not die. No one on the enemy team died. Azudan caught completely out of position and taken completely rectified by the enemy team. Kael'thas still trying to do a bit of damage, but not enough to do anything at all. The tides have turned greatly in favor of the red team. Both are about the same EXP-wise, but my goodness, this does not look good for the red team, or the blue team. Let's just pause a moment and take a look at what's happening right now. So we have Lili at low health, ETC at low health as well. Looks like he has a living bomb from Kael'thas on him. Kael'thas and Zagar at top health. They have caused Vala to run away, but doesn't look well. Blue team has managed to come ahead of the red team as far as EXP turned. So it looks like they have been able to make a bit of a comeback. Azudan and Tyrande are both dead on the blue team. So let's see what happens now. The mines are up in 25 seconds. Let's increase this a little bit, see what happens. Let's see, we got Zagara and Diablo fighting it up. Zagara managing to survive by eating Diablo with her ultimate. Looks like Kael'thas and Lili are going to be doing their best to chase down Diablo, and they will be able to successfully get rid of him. Tyrande scaring Vala away on bottom, but Diablo comes back. Fortunately, Tyrande is able to catch Diablo with the stun, but Diablo is going to try and chase her into the mines. Looks like there might be a bit of a confrontation. Vala is coming in, popping her ultimate. ETC coming in, being able to clean up the Tyrande. Azudan also being caught completely without any aid at all, but now the enemy team, the blue team, comes in. Azudan is still being chased, but this looks like a bit of a confrontation. Diablo is going to be taken off for sure. Unfortunately, Kael'thas and Zagar are caught by Diablo's ultimate ability. It's a 3v2 right now, but Kael'thas dies from Gazlo's turrets. Zagara and Lili are both on bottom, but against Tassadar and Gazlo, who knows what they're going to be able to do. Zagara caught by Gazlo's death laser, and also by double storms from Tassadar. Diablo coming in, going to be able to clean this up. No way that this doesn't get completely destroyed. Gazlo didn't die, despite the fact that Lily had him at pretty low health, and the entire blue team was wiped up in that battle, if I'm not mistaken. Trande and Azmodan have survived, and this does not look good, to say the least. We have Gazlo and Diablo trying to take on the Golem, but Diablo going to get caught by the Golem. Looks like Gazlo might be as well. I threw down a turret, managed to save his life, but they're not going to be able to take this by himself, especially with that low health. We got Vala going down as well, going to start poking at it. Not quite sure how that's going to go. ETC has come back with a fair amount of health, so he's going to be able to tank that fairly well. However, Tazstar and Diablo are both dead on the red team. Kael'thas, Trande, and Azmodan are all up, and Lily and Zagar are about to respawn for the blue team. Azmodan does go into the mines, but for little avail. The golems are already up. Fortunately for the blue team, they did manage to get ahead on the seeds to make their grave golems bigger. I guess they're not seeds, they're skulls, but yeah, whatever. Whoa, I don't know what just happened, but Kael'thas' health just plummeted. Trande able to grab the left side of Bruisers. She and Zagara are going to be at base to try and take care of this golem for the enemy team. Just going to be hitting it with everything they've got. See how that goes. We got Kael'thas on top by himself against Tazstar and the enemy Bruisers. He is not going to be doing well, unfortunately. He is losing this fight quite poorly. He has managed to get the stun on Tazstar, though. Let's see how the blue team Golem is doing. He is dealing some damage to the core. Not sure he's going to be able to make it through the shields before he dies. The red team Golem, however, does make it through their shields, and just bashing on the core brings it down to 83% before it dies. Not going well for that team. The blue team Golem managed to take down the enemy core to 90%, though. It's still anyone's game, really. Both teams are up except for blue team, in which Lily will be up in 7 seconds. Looks like both teams are converging on these middle mercenaries. Unfortunately, red team managed to get there first. Blue team just getting destroyed. Looks like Zagar went down first. Red team, Vala managed to go down, but Trande is just completely captured. Lily is trying to run away, not sure how that'll go. Azmodan is trying away from ETC, but that's not going to go. He gets knocked out, stunned. His abilities are all down. Lily heading up, possibly trying to help him, but not going to work out well with 3 of the enemy team there. Oh, he is able to save Azmodan, throwing out her ultimate. Unfortunately, 3 of the enemy team are dead versus 2 on the red team. Diablo is getting pretty low, not entirely sure how that's going to work, but it is 3 on top lane versus 2, but Diablo is pretty low, and Azmodan does do a Kobe at him, but not really enough. Gazlo is trying to push in maybe a little bit too far, overextending a bit, but unfortunately he didn't get punished the last way it worked. So the entire blue team and red team are both up, and the mines are going to be up in 12 seconds. Both teams are kind of on the brink of what might happen, so it's really anyone's game at the moment. Let's take a look at who's going into the mines. Vala, Tazstar, and ETC are going into top mines on the red team. Diablo on bottom. Lily, only one from the blue team in the bottom. Trande does come in, though, but only the 2 versus the entire enemy team. Not going to go well. Fortunately, are they able to? Trande with the amazing Lunar Flare, if I must say so myself, to kill Diablo, who is running away. They are managing to push Vala out. So far the 2 have been working well on their own. Kael'thas managing to die, unfortunately. Tazstar getting destroyed as well. There's no way they're going to be cleaning this up. They did manage to take out Gazlo, but Vala and ETC were just too much for them. And the blue team pretty much surrendering their fate. They are completely destroyed. It's 3 versus 3 at the moment, but there's no way that they think they can come back from this. We got ETC on top lane pushing. We've got Zagar in the enemy base, not sure what she's going to try and do there. We have ETC inside the mines trying to take down this golem by themselves, not entirely sure if it's going to go well. Zagar is going to get pushed back by Diablo, not entirely sure if she's going to be able to get away or if she's just going to end up dead. Nope, definitely going to end up dead, unfortunately, so Kael'thas did manage to just spawn. Azmodan alone on bottom. Tazstar going to come in, going to start cleaning Azmodan up. Yeah, no, Azmodan should not be staying there. Totally going to get destroyed by the tower and Tazstar. Not going to go well. We have Trande and Lily on top. It is a 3v4 situation at the moment. We have Kael'thas grabbing the enemy vision. The golems are going to be up soon. We got ETC and Diablo taking care of the boss in bottom. Tronde coming in to aid. Lily, Tronde, and Kael'thas grab the Rid team bruisers. They're going to head up and start pushing through these towers with them. Vala is there to try and push them off, but Kael'thas gets a good stun, manages to push her away. Now it's just these three and the Grave Golems, so we'll just have to see what happens. ETC, Diablo, and Tassadar are all there, managing to get good trades as far as this is concerned. Lily being able to push him back with their ultimates. Kael'thas getting the Pyro on Vala, nearly one-shotting her. Be able to push him back. The blue team Golem has spawned, catching the stun on Diablo. Tronde going up, going to be able to stop Tassadar from beating on their Golem. It looks like this game has honestly turned around. Diablo tossing Kael'thas over the shoulder. They're getting a big group damage here. Both Lily and Kael'thas are stunned by Diablo's ultimate, but it simply is not enough. And in the end, the blue team is able to take the win. Who would have thought? So let us pause this real quick and go over the last 3 talents, which I neglected to look over, because let's face it, that was getting a little intense. So for Tronde, she took Huntress's Fury, gained 40% additional attack speed for 4 seconds when using Hunter's Mark. Kael'thas took Living Bomb's Explosion, applies Living Bomb to enemies. Zagara took Mutalisk. Your Hunter Killer now spawns a Mutalisk with a bounce attack and 50% increased duration. Lily took Hindering Winds, in which case her Blinding Wind also slows enemy movement speed by 25% for 2 seconds. Aslan took March of Sin, in which case Aslan can move at 75% speed while channeling All Shall Burn. Diablo taking Spell Shield upon taking ability damage, reduce that damage and further ability damage by 50% for 2 seconds. This ability can only be triggered once every 30 seconds. Gazlo increasing his max turret charges to 3, up from 2. Tassadar taking the Shrink Ray, cooldown 60 seconds, in which you can activate it to reduce an enemy hero's damage by 50% and movement speed by 50% for 4 seconds. EDC took Face Smelt. Face Melt slows enemies by 8%, fading over 2 seconds. And then Vala taking a Frost Shot. Multi-Shot also slows by 40% for 2 seconds. Going back up to the top for level 16, Tronde took Lunar Flare, which, in the Shooting Star, in which case Lunar Flare does 50% more damage and refunds all mana if you hit an enemy hero. Kael'thas taking Arcane Berry, which has a 45-second cooldown. You can activate this to gain a shield equal to 200% of your maximum mana for 3 seconds. Brood Expansion for Zagara, in which case you can hold up to 2 charges of Hunter Killer. Lily taking 2 for 1, which increases the number of allies healed by healing Brew to 2, but increases its cooldown by 1.5 seconds. Then Azmodan taking Battleborn, in which case if his Globe of Annihilation hits an enemy, a Demon Warrior is summoned at the impact point. Diablo taking Imposing Presence, enemies that attack you have their attack speed slowed by 50%. Long range turrets, turret range is increased by 40% for Diablo. For Gazlo, Tassadar taking Second Strike, in which case after casting Psionic Storm, you may cast Psionic Storm again for free within 3 seconds. The damage does not stack. ETC taking Encore, Face Melt leaves an amp behind, which will knock enemies away 2 seconds later. And then Vala taking Blood for Blood, an activated ability with a 60-second cooldown, in which case she can activate it to steal 15% of a target enemy's hero's max health and slow its movement speed by 30% for 3 seconds. And finally, for level 20, Tronde taking Nexus Frenzy, which increases attack speed by 20% and attack range by 20%. Kael'thas taking Presence of Mind, increases Pyroblast's explosion radius by 50% and reduces cooldown by 10 seconds per enemy hero hit. Zagara taking Bolt of Storm, which has a 40-second cooldown, and you can activate it to teleport to a nearby location. Lily taking Jugs of 1,000,000 Cups, up from 1,000. Jug of 1,000 Cups now hits 2 targets at a time. And then Asmodan taking Storm Shield, 45-second cooldown, an activatable ability which gives all nearby heroes a shield for 20% of their max health for 3 seconds. Very good for team battles. And then Diablo taking Dying Breath, in which case Apocalypse's cooldown is reduced by 20 per second and is cast for free when you die. Gazlo taking Miniature Black Hole, in which case his Gravel Bomb radius increased by 25% and his damage is increased by 50. Tassadar taking Twilight Archon, which increases Archon's initial shield, attack damage, and basic attack range all by 35%. EDC taking Death Metal, in which case upon dying a ghost uses Mosh Pit at your location. You can actually see this ability at the very end when the three Kael'thas, Tyrande, and Lili are making their last desperate push against the enemy fort. You can see that Tyrande gets caught by this death metal, and then Vala taking Nexus Frenzy, which I described when Tyrande took it. Let's take a look at the stats real quick, see who did what on both teams. So on the blue team, not sure why it's red, we can see Kael'thas dealing the most as far as hero damage is concerned, Tyrande coming in close second, and Zagara coming in with the top siege damage, but Kael'thas coming in close second as far as that is concerned. With healing, Lili definitely topping off Tyrande with over 3 times, well, not over, but almost 3 times as much. And as far as killing blows, we can see that Lili has actually accounted for the most kills, which is interesting considering almost did the least hero damage. As far as the red team is concerned, as far as damage goes, Gazlo dominated the board with top siege and hero damage, and then Tastar coming in with the top heals, barely, because Tastar isn't as much a healer as much as a support with shields and such. And so that is the end of this video. I hope you have enjoyed. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe, all that good stuff. And until next time,